everyone, this is Tarvish, and today we're going to be looking at the best perks for the farm map on DEVOUR. Now, what we're going to be doing is which perks are the most useful for the farm, ranking from S tier, best, D tier, worst, and you'll see a lot of similarities, and some of the S tier ones that were in our general perk list are probably going to always be in our S tier for every single map, but some of the other perks might get, jumbled up a bit just because of the situational stuff when it comes to the particular map that we're looking at in each video and how useful the perk is. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. And of course, we're going to start off with the very first perk, Crawler. Crawler, you move 100% faster whenever you've been downed. Again, this one's just not useful. Technically, it is a little bit more useful in Asylum than any other map, but we're not talking about Asylum, we're talking about Farm, which is a smaller map with a safe zone that you can actually put medkits around. Person can crawl out at your leisure, or at their leisure, and you can pick them up at your leisure. When it's safe, you don't have to worry about them getting to you as fast as possible. So again, Crawler unfortunately still belongs in the D tier. Ooh, hold on, let me... So after that, we have Acceleration, plus 100% movement speed, or I'm sorry, plus 20% movement speed for 20 seconds after being revived. Again, on the farm, it's not that big of a deal. It's just not. We're going to be bringing this into D tier because once you're up on the farm, you're up and you're good to go. You're probably, hopefully, supposed to be up at the safe zone, which is the cage that sits right beside the ritual area. It's kind of a safe zone. So there's not much you have to really worry about there. Yeah, it's just a D tier perk for the farm. After that, we have Long-Sighted, all items highlighted at 50% greater distance. On farm, this is a D tier perk because farm is basically nothing but short range area. The largest areas that you have in the farm are the basement, where there's things blocking you anyway and you have to be up close to find them, or you're outside where, sure, you can see hay. Congratulations. There's really only 1, 2, 3, or 4 medkit spawns outside, but even then, you should already have the medkits over by the cage. No point in even having this perk on. Everything else in the farmhouse is short range, and you don't need, the extra 50% sight distance. After that is Quartermaster. Medkits are highlighted through walls. Now, this can actually be a or B tier, probably still B tier perk for the farm, because the farm has tons of rooms, and if you've used up all your medkits and you need to find a medkit for the person who's down, well, this is where Quartermaster comes in handy. Quartermaster will let you see through multiple rooms sometimes in the farm, and you can find medkits faster that way. But again, this is B tier because once you've started playing the farmhouse and you and your friends have really learned it, you shouldn't need this perk. You should already know to take it, take the medkits out to a certain spot so that people can crawl there. But emergencies happen, chaos happens, stuff like that. You really can't stop things from going out of hand in DEVOUR. You can only, play on your best. So this still comes in handy. Supply Runner for the farmhouse can actually be A or S tier. And I'm probably going to put it in S tier just because using a goat, you can actually scout the entire house very quickly. Now, the best strategy is, of course, if you're not wanting to do the TV room strategy, and the next best strategy is to get all the keys, make sure all the doors are unlocked, but making sure they're closed so that once all the goats are released, they are locked in their rooms. You just have to go room by room by room, but being able to get them to the sacrifice area faster, 15% faster, makes a lot of difference. It can also help you early game if you're being chased by Azazel, to help lose Azazel. 15% speed on top of your normal 100% speed means you're 115% on top of Azazel's. I think Azazel moves at about 80% to 90% speed when Azazel's enraged on the farmhouse. So you can actually outrun Azazel on your own, but having Supply Runner means you're almost guaranteed not to be caught unless you get stuck on something or you mess up. Speedy on the farmhouse is actually A or S tier perk. Speedy is 7% move speed in general, no requirement whatsoever. For the farmhouse, that can actually be super useful. You can scout, you can run supplies. I would actually put Speedy probably around S tier, maybe high A tier, low S tier, high A tier, but today I'm going to give it low S tier because, while everybody else is looking for keys, you can be using Speedy to, quickly gather gasoline, quickly gather hay, quickly gather keys. You can do everything with Speedy while everybody else is doing things like looking for keys and looking for goats. You can be the person who's actually supply gathering. You can grab the gasoline, the hay, the medkits, and everything like that. And that will be your huge contribution. People underestimate the power of the person who's actually going around and grabbing items for them in the match and making sure that they're where they need to be so they don't have to worry about where's the medkit, or do we have enough gasoline? Yeah, I've checked. I have Speedy. I've made sure that there's one gas can at each of these little plinths. There's 10 plinths, so we have enough gasoline. I have all these medkits over here. Just Speedy on one person on your team can make or break a farmhouse game sometimes because you need to be able to get somewhere fast, and if you don't have a ritual, you don't want to drop your ritual item, so Speedy can actually help you out. Fast Worker for the farmhouse is actually, I would probably put it mid S tier. Supply Runner comes on top of Fast Worker in farmhouse because only one person can burn a goat at any given time. So that means Supply Runner making the 3 or 4 people who are carrying, 3 out of the 4 people who are carrying goats, faster. They're able to scatter out more in case Azazel comes your way. The one person designated with Fast Worker has one job to do, and that's to light those fires and light those fires fast. Cutting that time in half is extremely crucial, especially in the end game parts of farmhouse when Azazel's berserking constantly. You want to make sure that you can get that out of the way fast, and Fast Worker guarantees that happens. After that, we have Repellent, which says that minion movement speed is increased by 50% when you're nearby. This is, C tier. I wouldn't say D tier quite yet for the farmhouse, because the farmhouse does have some situations where you turn a corner, you see minions, and it's like later in the game and they're just crawling super fast at you. It cuts that speed in half and gives you more time to react and turn around and run away. In the open areas, it's not that good, but in the tight areas, it can be the difference between you getting caught and you not getting caught sometimes. But again, it's not one of those perks that I would recommend actually using, but it is a perk that can technically be useful. After that, we have Regeneration. This increases the speed at which you recover your UV power back from your flashlight at 50% faster. Sorry. For some reason, I want to put this in A or S tier. I'll probably put it... Oh, gosh. No. I will have to make this caveat. When I say S tier for a perk, it means it's useful at every level of difficulty. That means it's useful in normal, easy, or normal, hard, or nightmare mode. And unfortunately, Regeneration does not help you in nightmare mode, but it does help you in normal, and it does help you in hard. Especially in hard, this can be probably one of the best perks that you can grab, because in hard mode, Azazel rages out faster. She takes more stuns to, calm down. So, and there's, the minions move faster and everything like that. So having more UV at any given time than everybody else, or having it get back faster than everybody else, having one person with the regenerator on hard mode can be worth it. It's one of those, we thought we were going to lose, but this person's, regeneration let their UV come back just in time to save me from this one thing, so we didn't have to, go find a medkit, pick me up, and waste all that time. The regeneration is absolutely worth it. It's A tier perk for farmhouse. After regeneration, we have Field Medic, revive players 50% faster. just like all these other perks, it can be okay, but there's a safe zone for you. If the medkits are where the safe zone is and the people will just crawl out to the safe zone, you should not need this. Having somebody have it is like having somebody, always with a medkit. It's useless until somebody goes down, and then when somebody goes down, there's already a better option. So unfortunately, I really can't recommend Field Medic for Farmhouse. I probably can't recommend it for really any map, except for maybe the town. When we get to the town, I think actually this can technically have some better uses, but we'll get to that when we get to that. After Field Medic, we have Fully Charged. UV charge is not consumed for 20 seconds after using a battery. Okay, so I'm going to be putting this right here in B tier. The reason I'm putting it in B tier is because it requires you to hold a battery and equip the battery to get your 20 seconds. Remember, when it says when you use a battery, it doesn't mean whenever you use the battery for the next 20 seconds, when you use the UV for the next 20 seconds, you have 20 seconds of unlimited UV. What it actually means is when you equip the battery, you have 20 seconds of immunity. Big difference there. I wish they would slightly, change that wording to be a little bit more clear, but that's okay. But that means you're carrying around a battery instead of your goat, your ritual item, and it means you're carrying around a battery instead of a field medkit or hay or gasoline or anything that's going to be useful. You're carrying around a battery instead. And for that to be actually really, really useful, it means you have to be in the action next to someone who's actually doing something in order to body block for them. And instead of, everybody having a goat, it's two people have a goat, one person has a gas can, and you have a battery, which means you're not doing things as efficiently as possible. I put it in B tier because when it comes to nightmare mode, this can actually be a really good strategy. You're sitting there just waiting to rock the battery for, and body block for people when they come out. You're sitting there in front of the back door of the farmhouse so that when Azazel comes out, you can stun Azazel, you can start running to the safe zone, you still have your UV, your 20 seconds UV, you can stun Azazel again, save the team like that, but then you have to find another battery. Hopefully, somebody's been running around finding the batteries for you, but that can actually be a legitimate strategy in nightmare mode, which is why this comes in B tier, but it's also probably, something there are better strategies to use than somebody sits there with a battery. So, unfortunately, Fully Charged is going into B tier instead of anything higher up. And then we come to Supercharge, which means you move 20% faster for 20 seconds after using a battery. That's really all that needs to be said. You're going to drop into the bottom of D tier. It's not a useful ability. If it says that you get even if they lowered it to if you get a 10% speed boost for 10 seconds after you stun Azazel or banish a minion, this would be an amazing perk. But unfortunately, what it says is whenever you equip a battery, you have 20 seconds of extra movement. Okay, so I equip a battery, stun Azazel, run, and if we're talking about nightmare mode or hard mode, I don't have enough battery power to stun Azazel again. I have to just run. And Azazel's probably still after me anyway, which means I have 17 seconds of a head start, maybe 15 to 17 seconds of a head start. Maybe they'll turn around and go after somebody else, or maybe they'll just keep coming after me. On Farmhouse, it's not that good because it's still not that large of a map. So, unfortunately, I can't really recommend Supercharge. Next thing is Trapper. Last ritual item becomes highlighted. Now, I'm going to put this at the bottom of B tier. I'm going to put it, probably bottom of B tier. Trapper can actually be really useful on Farmhouse because sometimes the person who has the last ritual item, they'll get grabbed by Azazel or something like that happens. You can't really tell who Azazel's going to go for. It's usually they usually prioritize the people with ritual items, and if you're the last one and they get there, they grab it. Sometimes, it's a goat, so it's going to run. It scatters the moment it's dropped to just sit there passively. So being able to see where it went can be useful. You shouldn't ever need it, but it's there for the situations that you do. That's why it's at the bottom of B tier. After Trapper, we have Evader, which gives you plus 25% movement speed when being chased by Azazel. This is actually right up here for Farmhouse. When Azazel's chasing you, being 25% faster means you are god tier looping Azazel up until about 8 or 9 ritual items, because Azazel's speed, of course, increases the more ritual items are burned. You can actually loop Azazel and keep them away from your teammates for the longest time, especially if you know the right loops and stuff like that to go to, which is the log. They've actually kind of killed the log loop a little bit by placing the tree there now, but this is actually a really, really, really good perk for the person in your group who's kind of like the adrenaline junkie and wants to be the person who interacts with the demon the most. Give them Evader and let them go to town. After Evader, we have Immune, which says movement speed is decreased by 70% less when slowed by a minion. This is absolute trash D tier for the farm because the minions don't slow you, they stop you where you are. There's no 70% anything, you are just stopped. This is a pointless perk for the farmhouse. Never bring it to farm. Just don't. Just don't. It literally has no effect on farmhouse. So just never even look at it. Even supercharged is better than this thing. After Immune, we have Team Leader. Long interacts are 100% faster when around any alive player. This can actually be a really, really, really good perk for any level of Nightmare. I'm probably going to put it at the top of A tier over Regeneration because it can actually work in Nightmare. The reason Team Leader is so good is that everybody gets a 100%, instead of 50%, everybody gets a 100% bonus speed to burning those goats. So you definitely want somebody with Team Leader, working his magic. Now, the unfortunate thing about Team Leader is that it has no other purpose in farm other than that, because 2 people aren't going to go res 1 person. It's a waste of resources. But everybody should be around the ritual circle when you start to burn the goats. In fact, you should be the last person holding your goat while they're burning to make sure that everybody's goats are burned faster. Then you drop your goat in, then you can run. So the person who's, burning doesn't need that 100% bonus. Other people are already coming back with the goats, and by the time you get there, you're going to give them that buff again. Last but not least, Under Pressure. For Farmhouse, long interactions are 100%, 50% faster when you are the last player alive, and it's only available in co-op, so that automatically drops it away from C tier. But unfortunately, this thing goes all the way down here. Like, actually, slightly, I would say it's slightly ahead of these two. Because there are only 2 long interactions that you're going to be doing on Farmhouse as the last person alive, and that's either picking someone up or burning a goat. And I guarantee you it's not burning a goat because Azazel is coming after you. They are going to pinpoint you, and they are coming after you immediately. So the only thing you can really do is get someone close to the cage, which is a safe zone, and pick them up. Which, there are other perks ahead of this one which are better. I mean, technically, Field Medic is slightly worse because it says 100%. This says 150%, so it's slightly ahead of Field Medic, but Field Medic doesn't care when. So you could actually toss these around in D tier, but again, they're in D tier, they're pointless. You should already be having plans for if Azazel comes in. Being the last person standing, you should be... If you're the last person standing, it means you have the last goat, and somebody body blocked for you so that Azazel can grab them, take them up to the attic like Azazel always does when they're that far along, and you have enough time to burn the goat. So, never have to worry about Under Pressure on Farmhouse. But this is my tier list for Devour's perks on Farmhouse. These are the ones, like when you first start out, you're first starting out probably doing Farmhouse, so these are the ones that you want to look at. And again, these 3 right here, these were S tier perks for the general perk list. Speedy came up into S tier just for Farmhouse. And now, these perks will fluctuate as we go through and do all of our different map perk tier lists. But that was the perk list for the Farmhouse. Hope this guide was, helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day and try to stay positive.